Hi everyone, my name is Rod Jans, and you're listening to the Get Inspired Talks podcast. Today's guest on the Get Inspired Talks podcast is Peter Ladner. Peter is retired, and he's the volunteer chair of Better Transit and Transportation Coalition. The Better Transit and Transportation Coalition promotes better transportation options for Metro Vancouver, British Columbia. He likes biking, good transit, car sharing, and ride sharing. He dislikes people who refuse to see past their own dashboards. Please welcome Peter Ladner.
But I've been riding a bike to work for decades, so that's a factor in how I see the world.
Yeah, good for you. I know that I saw some statistics maybe a couple of years ago that Vancouver was one of the most congested cities in the world. So this is a really hot topic. I would imagine, especially to anybody who has to commute every day or even just try to get around this city. It is a little bit crazy. And so how did you get involved and become the chair of the Better Transit and Transportation Coalition?
Well, I've been interested in transportation all my life. And when I became a Vancouver City Councillor, we dealt with a lot of transportation issues, from the way the city's designed and the way the roads are widened or narrowed and crosswalks and so on. And then I became a board member of TransLink, which is our regional transportation authority. And after leaving politics, I got together with a group of people and we tried to get a lobby group together to lobby on behalf of active transportation and better transportation options for people. And in 2016, there was a referendum, actually a plebiscite in Metro Vancouver, about how we should pay for transit improvements, mostly transit improvements. And there was a lobby group, a big coalition came together that I was very involved with. And after that plebiscite failed, the coalition stayed together and I became the chair. Well, we've trapped ourselves into a car-dependent life by the way we design our cities and expand into sprawling suburbs. And we've forced the majority of people to sit in their cars way longer than they want to. And this results in personal bad health. You tend to be more overweight, your circulation's compromised, people get more diseases and chronic problems from sitting in their cars. And not to mention the health problems of the poisons that are coming out of the exhaust pipe and the frustration and stress and anxiety that's attached to it. So people are losing big amounts of their life, and there is a better way. And that's what I'm trying to champion, so that people can have more time for their families, for their work, for whatever they're doing, wherever they're going, and less time sitting in traffic. And it requires some changes in public policy, but the benefits are so big that I'm really eager to see them happen. Well, we were pushing for approval, first an agreement and then approval of a $7+ billion transit and transportation improvement package, which just got passed. But we're about to have an upheaval in municipal elected officials. Half the mayors in this region are being replaced. They're dropping out and they're not running for election. So there's going to be a big political shift. Our first priority is to see that program continues and gets built out. And it will really improve access to transit, particularly around the region. And the next thing is to look at other much needed improvements that will be coming very soon, along the lines of road pricing, shared vehicles, smart transit where people can customize their bus routes and get buses to pick them up where they couldn't get picked up before, and find ways to get more people into the empty seats in cars, and generally reduce commuting times and improve people's health and improve the economy. Well, first of all, I think most solutions that are proven to work in other places will eventually be applied here. I mean, why wouldn't they? Because we have a problem and they have a solution. But it's always difficult because making change is difficult. There are just, for example, most of us ride around in our cars. I have a car, and most of the time we ride around, we have 3 or 4 empty seats in the car. And there are lots of different apps and programs that will enable us to fill those seats. And people who are otherwise driving their own car could be sharing a car. So that's one thing. Another thing is a more responsive transit. Instead of one fixed great big bus lumbering around to pick people up, you can have smaller vehicles, even cars that serve as buses effectively, by going around and picking people up, like taxis that can take more than one customer. And that's a no-brainer. That's, again, being done somewhere, but we have regulations that prevent taxis from picking up a second customer. You can have smarter information about transit so that you don't have to wait. Oh, this is already happening in here and in many places. When you are going to get a bus, say, you know exactly when that bus is coming. You don't have to guess. You don't have to wait out in the rain or the cold or the dark night wondering when the bus is coming. You just go when it's going to be there, and it'll be there. So more convenience that way is wonderful. We also have to deal with the fact that as long as roads are free, there will be expanded, unending demand for the space on those roads. And places that want to really beat congestion have to implement some kind of cost for driving on the roads. And we're just getting into automated vehicles, electric vehicles, the option of way more vehicles on the road. And if we don't have some kind of road pricing, we're going to kill ourselves with more congestion because of that. So those are a few of the solutions that are out there, but they're difficult to implement.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting experiment, if you want to call it that, was the Portman Bridge. Because am I right in saying that, I mean, at first there was a toll on it for a while. And then from what I heard in the news, once we took the toll off it, there ended up being way more cars on the road. Is that what you heard as well?
That's a very vivid illustration of what happens if you provide free roads. Well, so-called free roads. No roads are free, but the costs are offloaded to other people, and they're not all paid by the drivers. And if there's no cost for going out on the road, you're more likely to go out in that road more often. And I tell my friends who are stuck in transit or in traffic, I say, there is a way we could reduce that transit congestion, when you're stuck in traffic, there is a way to reduce that congestion. And it really works. And they go, what is it? What is it? Let's do it. I say, you're going to have to pay every time you get in your car and drive somewhere. And then they go, well, okay, but I'm not sure I want to do that, or that will infringe on my privacy or whatever. But the Portman Bridge case vividly illustrated that when there's a fee, people are more careful about when they use it. They don't tend to go on trips that don't need to be taken. Whereas if it's so-called free, people drive more frequently. If transit is working well and available, it's a far more, a better way to go, particularly if you can get a seat. If you're jostling with a bunch of people, I get it that it's not that pleasant. But we have cultural barriers to using transit. A lot of people they aren't into it. They don't want to be around a bunch of strangers. They haven't appreciated the benefits. You can work while you're riding in the bus or train or SkyTrain. You don't have to pay for parking. If you're going distances that you can go by bicycle, or you can combine a bicycle like to get you to the transit station or get you from the transit station to where you need to go through a bike share program. Now you're more active. You can park anywhere. You don't have to ever think about parking fees, parking hassles anymore. And it's, as you say, very convenient when it works. If there isn't frequent transit or adequate space in the transit, or it's not going where you need to go, then it doesn't work. So that's one of the things our coalition is pushing for, to make those other options available. Well, just on accidents, I read a stat the other day that in BC, every day there are 960 accidents, not just one or two. There are 40 accidents an hour or whatever it is. And we cannot build our way out of congestion. We know that. So expanding the roads doesn't work because as soon as you expand them, more people drive and you're right back with a bigger congestion problem. Options, again, once you've got people living in scattered, spread out places on big lots, there really isn't an alternative except the car. But you can use that car to drive to a train station in a denser area and park, or share a ride to that station and park, or have shared electric scooters that will get you there without straining and sweating, and allow you to have more than one way of moving around. And you can mix up these different options. You can put your bike on the bus, or you can put your bike on the SkyTrain, or you can park and ride, or you can share a ride to a certain place and then get on a train. And this is the future of transportation, instead of one person in one car going all the way.
What's the thing you're most excited about today when it comes to transportation, and what do you see as being the next big thing or the next big change in this area?
I think the really interesting thing is when all of these new services, we've got bike sharing where you don't have to take it back to a station. You can leave a bike anywhere and some RFID chip will tell the operators where it is. We've got car sharing. In the Metro Vancouver area, we have the biggest number of car share users per capita of any city anywhere, but it only works in the denser areas. But let's take the bike sharing, the car sharing, expanded transit of all different types, customized rides, ride pooling. And when you put all this together, you can get one app, as is done in some cities, particularly Helsinki is the model in the world, where I pay one monthly fee, and it covers any amount of taxi rides, any amount of Uber, Lyft, ride-hailing rides, any amount of bike sharing, any amount of transit. And I don't have to think about different cards, different bills, separate payment. It's very, very efficient and enables me to look at all these options and figure out the best way for any particular trip to get there cheapest and fastest.
Awesome. I love that idea. Yeah, one centralized app. That would be really cool. I could see that being really, really helpful. Well, thanks for joining me today, Peter. And just as we wrap up, the Get Inspired Talks are all about inspiring action, inspiring brave action. Just as we wrap up, what are some things that you'd like to encourage people to do? What are some actions that our listeners can take?
I think people have got to look at the new options that are available to them and give them a try. Realize that for example, it's actually not dangerous to ride your bike. You can actually improve your health and feel really good and never pay for parking and never worry about congestion again if you have an option to ride a bike. For example, try car sharing, see how it works, and maybe you will be able to sell your car, and ultimately we are coming to a place where it will make no sense to own your own car. Be the first on your block to not have a car and reap all those savings. Never go to the car repair store again. Never pay an ICBC bill again. Never go to a gas station and fill up again. You will be freer and healthier, and you will save money.
If people want to find out more, where can they get in touch with you?
The Better Transit and Transportation Coalition has a website. You can easily search for it. And that's probably the best place to go. There are any number of websites and blogs that track these changes. I would just warn also, don't be distracted by all the talk about automated vehicles and electric vehicles. These are happening. These are wonderful. Electric vehicles alone are going to improve air quality. They're going to cut maintenance costs. They're going to make the city quieter, healthier, and happier. But more cars on the road is not the solution. They are not the issue. The issue is reducing the number of single occupancy cars on the road and enabling people to get around just the same, even better than they already do.
Excellent. So for the things that Peter has mentioned, we will have links on the Get Inspired Talks blog and website, getinspiredtalks.com. And thanks again, Peter, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
Okay, Rod, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.